so excited. I'm headed down to the barn for the last clue of the scavenger hunt, of the big secret that I have been planning for my family for months now. They have no idea, not even John. They have no idea. And I am so excited. We're getting ready to reveal the surprise, and it's been a long time planning it. And I had help from my favorite Disney planner, Susan Ferris at Main Street Travel Company. So that should give you a hint. I'm in my closet making the scavenger hunt. So these are all the locations that they'll go to get the clues. And then each number corresponds with something. So we've got 6 letters, D-I-S-N-E-Y, 5 pillows, 5 nights, 4 bracelets, 4 magic bands, 3 circles, hidden Mickey, 2 new ... That's the Crystal Palace and the Grand Floridian. And then 1 new ... is the Caribbean Resort. So then they'll go back to this and turn over the letters, and then they'll be on the back, it'll be Disney, and they can unscramble them. And so on the back of the puzzle, I'm gonna have like a reference to the first place to go, and then they'll get this clue, and then they'll go from there. So today is the day because John has to work, and so we want to do it during the daylight hours, so we have to do it today. Anyway, I'm excited. So you've seen the clues. You've seen my ideas of how I wanted to do this reveal. I'm not going to show you the actual reveal because it was kind of a fun family home video moment with some inside jokes and just real fun stuff. That was just kind of personal to me. So I don't want to show you that. I want to keep that for my family's little Christmas present. But I want to explain our premise behind our Disney reveal and just kind of go through each of the clues and explain where I hid things and how you might translate this into your Disney reveal. Now, another thing I want to explain is that it's not necessarily just a Disney trip that you could do something like this on. It can be for anything, any fun idea that you have to do with your family. That's one of the things we're about here, is just turning something simple into something really, really memorable. Now, a Disney trip is not exactly simple, but you can certainly have all of the memories surrounding it by turning it into a reveal like this. One time for a 12 Days of Christmas gift, we actually took the kids to a nearby hotel and spent the night, and they had this Christmas package that you could do that had elves and Santa Claus and Christmas cookies and a Christmas train and all of these fun things that you could do. And we just kind of made that a little scavenger hunt that they had no idea where they were going. So any fun little thing that you can do for your family and just kind of bring out the surprise is kind of what we want to explore. Again, this life is crazy. This life is complicated enough. So it's just about embracing the fun and the simple, and just enjoying each other as a family and making memories. I think it's so cool, like when my kids are older and then they'll look back and say, do you remember when we did such and such? And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is just create memories. So I hope you enjoyed this scavenger hunt, the explanation of how we went through it and everything, and I hope it gives you some good ideas for your family's fun. Here's proof that big things come in small packages. For the first stop on our scavenger hunt, Disney trip reveal, we put together this puzzle. It's 2-sided, and I asked them to put together the window side, the indoor side. So they did that. They put together this side. Now bear in mind, this is just one of the really small little puzzles, so the pieces don't stay together very well. But so I asked them to do this, and then they had to flip it. So I asked them to put a piece of paper under the puzzle to start with. That way it would make it easier to flip. Then we put a piece of paper on top of it and made it much easier to flip. So we'll do that now. So after they did the flip, they get the other side of the puzzle, which is the outdoor side. So that's what this is, but I put little letters on there that they had to not even unscramble, but I just spaced them out differently so that they didn't just naturally flow. So they had to kind of really concentrate to read what it said. And so it just says Frosty's bag. And I have a little Christmas decoration on my office door at home that is like a Frosty the Snowman, and it's just like a little knit bag. So I'll show you that next. So this is my little Frosty's bag Christmas ornament decoration. And in this bag, there was a scroll, and they opened up the scroll, and it said this. It said, "What time is it?" So then they looked at their watches to try to figure out what time it was. But ultimately, it was the clock, which is actually right beside my office, which is right here. So behind this clock, I had taped an envelope. So I'll show you the envelopes next. Okay, their next objective is to find 6 clues. So on the back of the clock, I put the 6th clue, and it's just an envelope, and they were not supposed to open the envelopes yet. So they just gathered the 6 envelopes at each place, and then I'll show you what's inside the envelope. So the first clue on the back of this envelope said, "What should we watch?" So then that took them to the TV. Behind the TV was the 5th clue, which was on the TV. And on the back of this envelope, it said, "Let's relax on the porch." So we have a country kind of farmhouse, and so wanted to take them to the front porch, to the porch swing. So then they went to the porch swing, and they found this envelope for the 4th clue. It's actually the 3rd clue because it's in reverse order, but you'll understand the numbers in just a minute. So on this clue, it said, "I am the only one in the family who likes this red and white Christmas treat." So we have some candy canes out in the front yard. So that is where I taped number 3, and it had the candy cane. And then on this envelope, I said, "Kerrigan, where do you like to hang your hammock?" And again, we live on a farm, and so we have lots of trees, and there are these 2 trees that just happen to be close enough together to hang a hammock. So that's where this envelope was found, at the hammock trees. And it said, "Where will our grown-up chickens sleep?" So when we first get our baby chickens, they'll have to sleep in the brooder, but then once they grow up enough and their feathers come in enough, they can sleep in our barn. So that is where the last clue took them. So they got the last clue at the barn. So then we took all of these envelopes back up to the house. So in each envelope, there were clues that correlated to the number. So in each of these envelopes, there were, like in this one, there were 6 items. In this one, there were 5 items. So each envelope now has the clues that I showed you earlier. This has the 6 letters. Now this was the side that they saw. So they had to, they don't immediately think letters, they think mail, postage, something like that. They were taped onto another piece of paper so they couldn't immediately see the letters on the back. So when the whole puzzle was over, I asked them to take the letters off and look at the letters. And then they could unscramble those to see Disney. So then in the 5th clue, we had 5 pillows. And again, I was trying not to make these immediately obvious because I didn't want them to guess where we were going, which, by the way, even when we got to this, the fact that we were unwrapping a Disney puzzle, Kerrigan even said, "Are we going to Disney?" And I said, "Why would we go to Disney? We just got back from there." And I had to say that 2 different times because she was convinced we were going to Disney. So, once you've done one of these Disney surprises, it is a little harder to surprise them. So that's why when I got to these items, it was kind of like they'll make sense once they figure out where we're going, but they don't immediately make you think Disney. So this was the 5 pillows for 5 nights. Okay. Then the fourth one was 4, this one kind of really threw them, 4 bracelets. They didn't understand that at all, but it was 4 magic bands. Then in the third one, we had the 3 circles, 3 dots as Kerrigan called them. And at first they were kind of thinking traffic lights, but of course that's black and not green. So it's supposed to be like a hidden Mickey, which these 2 technically should be smaller, but that would be really obvious. So I made them all the same size. So, and they're also Mickey colors. And then the second one, this one said 2 new on it. 2 new what? This one ended up being the funniest clue because they really had to play some word games, and it was just funny watching them. So there were 2 different restaurants in here, but they didn't know what they were looking at. So when they drew them out, it was like something like this, and they didn't make sense together at all. So they recognized that this was Crystal, and they recognized that this was a palace. It's Buckingham Palace. But I thought that would be it, that they would immediately put those 2 things together, but they didn't. But this one ended up being the funniest one. They came up with grand piano, and I said, yes, it's one of those words. Grand, they finally got that. And then this one, they kept calling it grand orange or baby orange. I forgot all the different combinations they came up with, but this one was really funny. So finally, when I told them to put them in that order, they were like, oh, Crystal Palace, and then grand orange, baby orange, and then finally we said, where are oranges? And they said Grand Floridian. So these are the 2 new restaurants that we're trying. We like to try at least 1 or 2 new restaurants every trip we go on because we just want to experience all that Disney has to offer. And every single time you go is a completely different trip. So that's why we love it so much, because even though, yes, we've been a few times now, it's very different every time you go. So we do have a couple of favorites that we're going on this trip. Is Yak and Yeti, because we loved that, and it's actually a very affordable meal at Animal Kingdom, and the food was incredible. That was seriously one of our favorite meals this time because of affordability and then just flavor and taste and atmosphere. It's a really cool place to look around. So anyway, those are that one and Primetime 50s Primetime Cafe are ones that we're revisiting, but these are our 2 new restaurants this time. So then this one said 1 new. So we like to stay. We do have a couple of resorts that we like to stay in. Beach Club is probably our favorite because of Stormalong Bay. We loved our time at Riviera this last time, but it is a deluxe resort, and so we're not going to be able to do that every time. So I wanted to explore a different place, and I came up with Pirates of the Caribbean for the Caribbean Resort. So that's kind of what this was. And basically, Zach said we were going to stay at the Jack Sparrow Thatch Huts. That's what he came up with, but that is the Caribbean Resort. So that's where we're staying this time. So once they went through all the clues, I then asked them to get these back out and then take them off of their papers and flip them over. And then they were able to unscramble the letters. And I didn't want them to do this at first because I seriously, we're such a Disney family. I knew as soon as they saw 6 letters that they would guess it. So I kind of just had to really give them some time to get this one sorted out. But so that was the 6 letters Disney. So when we got to this point, I said, we're going to Disney. And they just all like stopped and looked at me like, how did you do this? Because it was completely a surprise to everybody, even John. And of course, my magical Disney planner, Susan Ferris, she even got me this puzzle. And this was just a puzzle that she had in her Disney stash, but it was a great way to reveal this first clue that told them how to start this scavenger hunt. So the more times you go to Disney and the more times you do a Disney reveal for your family, the harder it is. But this one was really good because it was a complete surprise to everybody in my family. The very last thing they opened on the scavenger hunt was actually a 12 Days of Christmas, because I did it on Christmas Eve. That's the 12th day of our 12 Days of Christmas tradition. So I had them open some ornaments. So Zach got the Mickey and Kerrigan got the Minnie, and these little guys are now not only a 12 Days of Christmas present, an ornament for the tree, but they're also a remembrance of this trip and this special magic Disney reveal. So we are going to Disney in 2021. I'm so